Enjoy.
Good evening and welcome to the Town of Belgrade Planning Board of March 5th, 2026. It is 6:07. I apologize for the people that probably were online waiting around. I had a home technical problem in which it kind of, I was sorry quickly. So something related to a dog going outside to do their thing. So anyways, we're gonna start with a call to order, roll call. Tonight we have with us our alternate, Nick Alexander. And we have Mr. Nick Sakharov. We have Mr. Baker. And we have Mr. Seal and our CEO, Rasmussen, and myself, Sarah Langed. Mr. Alexander have excused himself. I don't know what happened with Mrs. Morel, but Mrs. Morel is the alternate in this. So, so that said, then tonight, if Nick will be part of the quorum, will be part of the five. Yeah, you're gonna be part of the five to that.
Okay.
All right, so, all right, so with that, I open the meeting for business. We have two applications where I hear from Mr. Rasmussen that both applicants withdraw for today.
Right.
All right, so applicant A with a Violet and applicant B with Golden Pond for Rebecca and Dan Corbett, both applications are withdrawn. So we immediately pass on to all business. And I'm sorry, in the roll call, I forgot to have the audience introduce themselves. We always go through that. So,
Shane Shapou.
right, and
Kimberly Dallas.
And Andrew Dallas of Belgrade.
thank you. We don't have anybody online.
Yeah.
Tyler Evans is online. You wanna say hi, Tyler? Nice to listen.
But you.
I thought you was overseas.
Everybody knows Tyler.
All right, sounds good. So that said, then we proceed to all business. Map 3, lot 3, resource protection status. Probably you have, Mr. Rasmussen has the best story or the best backdrop about this whole thing. We should let him.
Well,
Have we said
at our
it?
last meeting, we'll pick up there.
Okay,
Richard brought a map from DEP, which is identical to the map that we used to hang in the office. We did find that old map. It's in the closet. Got a bunch of pinholes in it and tape around the edges to hold it together. So if that is our official map, we need to have copies made. And Richard, the copy you had at DEP, is it possible to get a digital copy?
I don't have it with me, but I still have it.
Can they provide us with a digital
Oh.
copy that we can send to a map company? Printed?
I imagine they may be, you're talking about like printing it off just the way it is,
Yeah,
and same size and everything.
Yeah. because we dug through,
I'll have to check with Cohen. I sent an email the other day and he said that he had a medical emergency and won't be back. He doesn't know when he'll be back. But hopefully it's not gonna be serious, but I'll try to get in touch with him again and see if we can get a copy of that. Now, what did, no one found any evidence that the 2004 map, was ever?
well, I combed through the planning board minutes from 1992 to present. And there was discussion of shoreline zone map changes, but never any mention of particular lots or areas. It was always just updating.
Yeah.
I went through the ordinances in the file cabinet every year of changes with all the supporting documentation. Again, nothing that said other than there were 3 areas put in resource protection, and there were wetland areas, like the North Bay and a few other smaller areas. So no lots and nothing along the Belgrade Stream. So the last official vote on changing the shoreline zone map was that 1992 change, which actually took that land out of resource protection.
Which year?
Was
So
it
you mean
94?
2004?
92.
97. No, 93.
92, yeah.
93.
So that looks with my notes from the last meeting. What I had from the last meeting was that 1991, that was in resource protection. In 1996 was partially in resource protection and limited residential. 1997, which was erroneously the map we've been operating with ever since we moved from the old town office, was in resource protection. And then in 2004, it was placed back into limited residential. And we had the referendum vote and vote tallied from town meeting for that.
Well, see, this is the, I think I provided this at the last.
Yeah,
meeting.
and so is that, I have the wrong date for that?
Well, we don't have any records of the vote in 2004. Those records are just, they don't exist.
So town doesn't have any records that we voted and approved anything past
At the
1992.
This is the last proof of a.
92 was the town vote to
Yes.
take it out. And we haven't found any documentation since then, any other votes that put it back in.
No, other than 1997, the east side of Marsh at North Bay, the west side of Austin Bog and Great Pond, and Birch Island, Belgrade Bog, and the south end of West Lofty Lake.
Those are going to resource protection.
Yeah.
Right.
And that correlates with the maps that we have now. So
I'm not gonna speak to that until we have a map to look at,
okay.
but, you know.
Yeah, I
it's
didn't know.
Faded and torn and.
If you want, I can take 5 minutes and go home and get the map that.
We can. None of that will pertain to map 3, lot 3. So,
I mean, if you look at the ordinance, there were amendments to the ordinance in 1991, 92, 93 twice. 1995, 1996, 1997, 1999, 2011, 2018, and 2025. And what you're saying, Hans, is that 92 is the last time that we have any documentation that a change was made to the map?
Yeah.
Even though that map at DEP is from 2004.
Yeah.
So the town sent that, DEP didn't get that on their own. The town sent
It
it
would
to
have
them.
come from the town. The problem I see is that there's nothing on that map that has any certification or anything like that.
From the town clerk.
Yeah,
Well, the 97 map that we've been relying on also didn't have certification, so, you know, I think there are multiple screw ups here.
Yeah.
The way I see it, and the discussion that you came across about the wetlands mapping, that never happened, because that fell victim to COVID.
and
That was work Rich had done with Inland Fish and Wildlife. We identified some wetlands that were high value wetlands that should be resource protection, and some that were no longer considered high value.
and down by the railroad tracks off of the stream.
so the old map was dated 1997. Okay, in the little block on the corner. And all those ordinance changes, a lot of those didn't require map changes,
Right,
you know, it's verbiage changes.
right.
If the town voted to bring that out of resource protection in 92, wouldn't we be able to find planning board minutes
Yeah, and I'm pretty
6 months
sure.
prior to that or whatever prior to that where they?
Yeah, that's
Made
why I
one
went through
discussion.
them, and at the same time, Cliff Hammond would have known about it, cause he's the one that moved it removed, and he would have fought against it. And it would have been in a lot of people's memories.
So, see, this is different than what I recall where we left it at the last meeting. I thought we had documentation that 2004, the 2004 map was indeed the correct map, the most current map. And that what we were concerned about was, were there any additional changes to the map since 2004 that we could find voting records for?
Since 20,
But
I think you're right, because your concern was there any changes since 2011? It was 2004, and then you honed in on 2011.
right.
I took away that the town voted it out, but the maps never were changed or to reflect that. That's the way I took it, is that we're operating off the town's, maps
I think
that
what it
never
was
reflected the
is-
town's vote.
The map Richard had it taken out,
Oh,
but the map that went to the printer didn't.
Huh.
I think that's where the error came is,
so there is a map that shows it out,
yes.
Yeah, the 2004 map.
which
But we don't have any records. I mean, Craig was pretty insistent that he wanted to see voting records.
Yeah.
Showing that,
that was taken out.
or in, whichever, the document where the current
Yeah.
map is that has legal status.
Yeah.
Um,
And one of the problems we have is we don't. Other than the issue of the 2000, I mean, yeah. The original skip and change, we've got that documented, but there's nothing else that I've seen that. Shows that the town voted or voted, there's changes of maps we have. None of them are certified or by the town clerk. And apparently there's no record that that was done. Official record, town record, so you're sitting here kind of saying, well, what would happen? Maybe may need an opinion from the town attorney.
We do.
It's one of them things where if we can't document that it was changed out of resource protection again, we just have these maps for it. And I don't know whether it would hold up if we tried to
The
use the later maps.
yeah, the real thing is that the only map that is gonna be good is the one that is legally certified, no matter that there were other changes. If that never made it certified and legalized in the state of Maine, we're gonna go back exactly to the last map that was certified.
And that map you had was certified, correct? I'll put it in another closet, we'll see if that's certified.
Yeah, grab the one you.
The only thing that's only in court, if we go to court, the only thing that is gonna be valid is what is certified. No matter that the town went after 1990. In 95, in 2000, in 2015, we changed the map and we went through all this thing. But if that didn't, the process was not finished to register that with the state, it's like all that was a wash. It's to the map.
So you would just.
I just went through that. Legally, it's the same way everywhere. I just went through that. It's
it's just like, that's the ordinance, it's part of the ordinance, and it's not certified by the town clerk, it's to the vote.
no matter.
Yeah.
What year is that on?
I don't see that.
2004.
Was 2000.
Okay. Yeah, that's my fault. I'm gonna drive this.
Revised 2004, and here. It's from the, adopted 1997.
Approved by the commissioner, so this one is a real thing.
Yeah, which is the same, this is what Richard had. Except Richard's was a lot prettier.
That's what it shows in.
I was gonna say,
But no
This
seal
is-
from the town clerk.
this may be the same map as the 2004, but I'm not sure.
This is the 2004, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, but the one that we used or was hanging on the wall, you could see colors in it. It had orange and I think,
Well,
but
all these colors are fairly
Yeah.
dated.
Yeah,
It was recent.
I mean, look how many
and what
pinholes.
does this show it as limited residential?
We are,
So it's
It's limited.
limited residential. Not only this one, but the one across all the way down to the train tracks. And
Yeah, that's showing.
that parcel's for sale right now.
Yeah, this is definitely, I think, the same map as the one I had 2004.
Was today's map or the one we've been going by, this whole, both sides is resource protection.
I mean, the conflict, or the problem is what this says, let's say this has the same legal status as certification by the town clerk. Says the map was incorporated by reference in Belgrade ordinance in 1997. It doesn't say anything about 2004 here, it just over here.
Yeah, it's just dated, maybe.
Just says-
I think probably that was language that was there all the time and.
Right.
they Must have
Yeah,
added
this
this.
predates 2004, so.
Yeah.
Like I said in my email, with the real Belgrade shoreline zoning ordinance, please stand up.
But we don't have anything other than that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
you got a map?
So you've seen it before.
So according to this map, there's absolutely no shoreland zoning in the town of Belgrade.
No, there is.
It's 250 feet. All of it,
No,
within
no.
250 feet.
Shoreland zoning map's colored to show you different regions. So show me on this map where it's colored to show the resource protection, the wildlife protection,
Well, the
okay?
legend is right.
Yeah,
there.
Okay, so this is, that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
this just got so faded when it was over at the old town office, the colors are gone.
Chart here, so. Limited
So-
resource protection.
And what happened was. What was that, 2018 or so, Rich, that we realized we didn't have a map that we could read, so we
Mhm.
had it redone
Yeah. Right.
exactly the way it was.
Mhm.
But everything within
Which,
250
that's where this
feet.
version comes from, that's online the recolorized version that you'd seen at this. Before
Yeah.
this board in the
And
past,
they changed the colors.
yeah, it changed the colors.
Right, but as far as shoreline zoning, everything within 250 feet is shoreline zoning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the only parcel in question is this parcel on Belgrade Stream.
Yeah.
So that sits. Here's the Wings Mills Road, Silver River Road.
So this is the one we're discussing, and there's more than, there's actually four
So
parcels.
it's in here.
Yeah, yeah, from this blue area up to that one, so there's several parcels that are incorrectly charted right now. Plus this whole side over here.
Other than just the map.
Yeah.
The things that I've seen. When you look at. This on the plan. In 94, when they made the plan. It shows the resource protection district there. Which the surveyor would have researched and found and put that on the map.
Which plan are you talking about?
So this area here, which is figured out, should be that blue color showing that it's in the zone, correct?
We all talking
We're
about the
just
same
losing,
parcel, man.
missing color there.
So right there. This is map 3 lot 3.
Yeah.
This whole 79 acres.
Right,
of property. That right there says Resource Protection District. And it's a 250-foot setback, and that dotted line that's right there shows that. So the surveyor that did this did research. And there was a Resource Protection District there.
And again, in 1992, it was taken out. And we feel like the map that went to gave that information.
So this is the
All the
plot
time.
plan, just so that everybody's clear, this is the plot plan that was approved for not the subdivision that we approved last fall, but the subdivision that created the original subdivision along Mill Stream.
Right.
Which is now a town road. Um,
When was that created?
94,
94.
September 15th, 1994 is when it was signed by the planning board.
The book and page is 1994-210.
And we
Well-
were. Nope, here.
I mean, that's consistent, yeah, and that's consistent though with our discussions at the last meeting, because we fully recognized that there were past maps that had this in resource protection and then, and it subsequently changed back and forth.
And that's why we went through all the minutes and looked for
I think
paperwork to back up the change back into.
back
resource
into it,
protection.
yeah, you'd have to find
And we
that.
can't
You'd have to
find
find
Refresh my memory, what was the year of the letter from Don Hammond asking to have
It
it
was
was
1992,
1992?
and that's the year of the
After
vote.
it was
It
changed.
was voted out of resource.
Right,
And then
okay,
Don Hammond was trying to get it back in.
No.
He was the one who tried to get it.
yeah.
Had it
Because he owned all that land at the time and created the original subdivision. And I'm sure he had designs to, subdivide the rest of it.
Yeah.
So that's why Mary and I combed through all the records. Planning board minutes. The ordinance. Town votes, balance. And there's nothing. I mentioned putting that parcel back into resource protection,
To refresh
or
my
anything on
memory,
Belgrade Stream for that matter.
this revised 2004, did you find evidence that that was actually revised?
2004, we got no records.
Just the 92?
No voting, no ballots, nothing.
Can I just make one comment?
So, let's go to our chairs for a minute. So we can all get in the camera. Then we'll see the conversation, how's it? All right. Welcome, Mrs. Gatton. So to summarize what's going on for Ms. Gatton.
Get it by order on.
Okay, so the A and B item in the agenda got withdrawn. We're talking about the map 3, lot 3, resource protection status. We have dialogue over a map that we were able to locate recently. And we have Mr. Chapu would like to make a comment on that.
I guess my first comment would be, has Colin Clark even been involved in this? Because if this all gets done and you guys approve that this is no longer resource protection, you have to submit this to the Commissioner of the DEP for his approval.
Well, I guess in the dialogues, we have not gone that far because so I understand coming up is that they have been a lot of research on the files backing up and these decisions. And I don't think we are proving anything. We're trying to understand what the record was.
Well, we would have to have a map
We
update.
don't change anything.
We would need an updated map.
Well,
Yeah.
this is but again, to get back to my point with
Sure.
Colin Clark,
Sure.
he's the DEP official that's assigned to Belgrade, correct?
Yeah.
I know he's been here before and done his presentation and all that.
Yeah.
Well, I know down by where I live, he's been down there and walked the lake shore to see if things were in resource protection or not, what the status was.
So
Wouldn't it be a good idea for him to be involved,
going.
go down there to see if it's resource protection or it meets the qualifications of?
So going to that point, when we were dealing with Mr. Evans' application alone, we reach out to Colin Clark. And all he does is telling us As long as the owner can prove that it's not a wetland, he can apply to take it out of the resource protection. That's all we have in that. So fast forward now, and somehow I'm not even sure how this whole conversation restarted after the voting. We are here now, finding maps that apparently shows that section out of resource protection. Already, so we're trying to get our ducks in a row to understand that before possibly we go to that step. Cause the step now to go back to calling Clark again will not be in him guiding us on what is the process, on what is how the ball plays between the town and them. It will be him asking him to look in his records to see how this thing look. So, but before that, I think this group is trying, and the town's trying to get our ducks in a row. Is that a correct statement?
Yeah, when we.
Sure.
Yeah, well,
Is it that?
first off, I really appreciate the board's trying to like comb through history and try and do the right thing and try and figure out, well, how did we get here from there? Sarah, I think you made a really good point, which is there is case law in Maine that is basically the town has to go through a process to update a map. And there's steps that you got to do. You got to submit them and you got to get them approved, all the rest of these things. And until they go through that process, they're not the map,
Yeah.
right? So the map that we've been working with off of, does have a resource protection plan on it. Whether or not the town voted before to remove it, if the town failed to do that in a timely fashion, and that's the requirement, in a timely fashion, and 30 years is not timely, that's the map. So,
Oh, for government.
I'm sorry?
I said for government.
Well, yeah, sure. 30 years. 30
One thing to
years.
keep
So,
in mind, I'll go ahead.
in Richard, I think you made an excellent point earlier too. So, if we can comb through the records, we can find things, but if the map was never perfected, we still have the old map, which makes a whole bunch of other messes, of course, but that's what it is. And that resource protection area is there. And further, the town overwhelmingly voted to keep that resource protection area there. So that vote takes precedence over unperfected previous work at this point.
I'm not certain of that, and I think that's one reason.
I'm not an attorney.
One more reason why I think at some point we're gonna have to consult the town attorney.
I think we do, yeah.
The other thing.
Because right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but based on this discussion, the last map that we have solid documentation in terms of voting records is the 1992 change from resource protection to limited residential.
Which that one displays.
Right.
And
And if that's gone through all the steps to get it perfected, then that's the map. But if it hasn't.
right, and if that is the last map that was properly adopted by the voters of town, then we got the conflict of, at this last town meeting, of bringing the wrong map to the town voters for a change that had already been made in 1992.
Could be.
And I don't know what that means, but
Sounds like what, if I can suggest,
Sure.
maybe what has to happen is a new map has to be drawn up, which represents what you all feel is the correct map, and have the town vote and say, okay, we've had this history of a train wreck and mistakes that happen, stuff happens, people get busy and they forget that, a lot of the boards are volunteering, like this one. We made some mistakes, but we need to get a clean start of the town vote on that and say, let's all agree, here's the new map.
I can't help wonder if that's what the town attorney would advise us to do.
Can I say something?
Who's this?
Tyler, I was unable to raise my hand on there, but I'd like to say something.
Okay,
Your video is on, Tyler, that's why I probably didn't see it.
Okay. Just so we're all clear, there is the most recent map at the DEP office from 2004 does show the update to limited residential from the 1992 vote. So we're talking about the 1997 map, but we have a verified map from the town approved by the DEP
Yeah,
that
I think what
correlates
we
with
have.
that 92 vote.
So-
The problem is it's not certified.
But okay,
Well,
and
it's a
then
DEP,
there's
yeah.
another question here.
But you got it from the DEP's office.
Yeah, it has to be certified if it's a DEP, right?
Well,
That's what DEP had on file.
Okay, so that's a good point there, Tyler, but this is the thing, I'm new to this business, and bear with me on it, okay? I don't know what, a certified map looks like or meant to. Because if it is in the DEP files over there, in the archive files, it means that at one point was certified. But, then we have, I have to rely on the experience of the ones that carry the longest time here. What I hear from the board members is that there's no stamp from the clerk here. So I don't know if that validates the certification or that helps the certification, or it doesn't matter. I have no idea about that. So we have definitely to obtain official legal documentation, one, and second, support that with a record if we can do that. So, and then I'm gonna be left with a mess, probably me and Mr. Seal, to create a document that's playing the town that we mess up somehow. So I'm trying to understand. I mean, I kind of come new to this whole dialogue because over the last 3 weeks I've been kind of MIA into it, and to be honest, I didn't watch the last video, and so I'm coming to hear words of what's happening, what not. So I'm trying to piece it all out. I don't think tonight we're gonna make any decision on that. It's kind of still kind of a understanding our grounds and where are the legal documents and where are not, and what information we need to understand what it was the real record. Because now that's as I said, all the voting could be happening, but if the ending part of it was taking the map to the DEP and have it officialized, and that never happened, it's like we never vote. And so
Hans found the map that was hung at the town office. We do
Yes,
have that.
no.
We're talking as if we don't.
Hey, don't take me wrong, but that doesn't mean that map was taken all the way through the process to the state house, or to the state government, is what I'm getting at.
We got it from the
So-
state as well.
It's from the state as well?
Yes.
Yes.
So the map came from the state, and Hans found the copy that was hanging at the previous town office. So when we moved town offices, the wrong map was hung. We have a map from 97 that's hanging on the wall. We have a 2004 that was found dusty in the closet that matches the record that was found at the DEP's office.
Okay, so let me ask you this. How do you know that map made it all the way to the state house? To the governance over there?
Because Rich got it.
You went to a state and
I-
got a copy of it?
What I didn't do, I think I need to do before we make any final decision one way or another, and which we're not doing tonight anyway, but I need to go through that file page by page. You know, the
In the state, you mean, the state records?
DEP file.
The DEP?
Now, keep in mind too, that in the early days, there was no requirement that the town submit changes to the ordinance to the DEP. So I'm not sure when that law was actually updated to say an ordinance amendment is not official until approved by DEP. It may in fact, maybe Monday, so I'm not sure. But I do think that one thing that needs to be done is to go, like I said, page by page. I got 2 files that are about this thick. And I didn't have a chance to go through the whole thing. And there may be documentation at the DEP that says we approve this map amendment. Approved by approved by the townspeople on such and such a date. I think it's worth doing that before we.
So let me paraphrase what you said, so I understand this. You guys have been talking for 3 weeks on this thing and I can't move into it. So you have records, copies of the records of the state,
Yes,
relation copies that do confirm that somehow that section that we're talking about is in limited residential.
we have a copy of that map,
Okay,
that's from
but
the,
so that copy came from the records of the state.
right.
Okay.
But again, that doesn't, there were times in the past where a town would send a copy of the ordinance map to us and say, what do you think about this? Is this okay? Or a change or whatever. And
So how,
not every map in the file may, yeah, not every map in the town file and state file is a definite that map was adopted by the town.
So Rich, your hope is, or what you want to determine is whether there's documentation in DEP's file that upon receipt of that 2004 map, that they reviewed and approved it, because all that says is it was reviewed and approved in 1997.
Yes, there may in fact be, it's just that we have to go, take some time, go through each piece of paper.
And DEP is a state entity though.
Yes,
Yeah. So if you found something at DEP,
I'll tell you something. It's nothing to be clear in that the EP files are good anyways. Sometimes that happens. But it's important to understand that the information that we're getting is copies from the archive stuff in DEP. And that's valid right there.
We found the map on the premise too.
So that
It's
again,
important to note that the map is at the town office.
yeah, I understand all that, Tyler. The part of it that don't understand and I'm trying to clarify, not only for me, but for also the public, this is a record for the public. What I'm trying to clarify is which map was officialized is the part that we don't understand. And we can,
We do
can
have the
say
official
that,
vote.
huh?
We have the official vote from 92, and Hans spent a week combing through town records to make sure it was never voted back into resource protection.
I
And we have a
understand all
map
that,
that-
right? Tyler, excuse me. I understand what you're saying, Tyler. Okay, and we are in the right direction to really come to a surprise that this was out of resource protection all along. But I need paper that is legally can sustain that, and I'm not gonna move any forward till I have that. So that said,
and we do have that.
You think we have it, but I need the word of the lawyer to say, yes, that's authentic. All right, so that said, what is it that we wanna do? What's the board would like to do in regards to this?
Well, my personal feeling is that there are two next steps that we need to take. The first is, and I'm happy to help with this, Rich, if you would, be of use, is to review those DEP files to see if we can find documentation that the 2004 map was indeed approved by the commissioner.
and I'm sure that in 2004, it was required that the town send it to.
Right.
Versus back in the early 90s.
Right.
I'm not.
Because the 2004 map has this as limited residential, so that would give us a starting point. Versus the 1992 map. Albeit, and also I think we need to look and verify that the map that you got from DEP, whether or not that has the town clerk seal on it. Certifying that it's a real legal document, which is a requirement of law. Just like the ordinance, so. That's not to say that, the town wasn't sloppy, but, and then once we know, I mean, your point's well taken that state files aren't perfect. They're a hell of a lot better than town files, I'll tell you that right now, but But you know, if we find something, good. If there's nothing there, that doesn't necessarily mean there's nothing there. Um, the these are files that Colin has, or are they state archives?
No, they're not archives, they're paper files.
Okay.
And they're all,
Well, it's good that he didn't comply with the state's rules about archival of files, because those are long overdue, but it's much better this way.
so, okay, I'm getting confused with
And
it.
then step two would be to, once we know that, then we can write a letter to the attorney.
So these files that you were able to obtain are not like in a vault or in an archive?
No, you gotta, like, I had to go to Colvin, and he pulled them out. And I gave them to the welcomer at DEP, and he told her that when Rich Baker comes in, loan him these 2 files and send them in this room to look at them.
So then actually that's archived. If the files need protection, that's archived. It's not like they're in Colin's desks.
No.
Okay.
They've got a file room. Every town in this file room has shoreline zoning file.
Okay, so you made me nervous for a second there. I thought this was in Colin's drawer or something like that.
No.
Okay, good. I think that's good as start. So then, I guess the mission to the 2 of you come with that documentation from the State House and then your copies, if they're authentics from the things that were archived, somehow have to be stamped as authentic. At least that's what happens in Puerto Rico anyways. You go and get copies, and as they make the copies, they stamp all the copy that came from this archive. So your copies are authentic, that they're.
Yes, and so, you know, just so that we're clear and have the clear expectations, I mean, we may very well find documentation that says the 2004 map, was approved by the commissioner.
Okay.
But if it still doesn't have the town clerk's seal on it, which is the legal documentation that it was approved by the voters of the town of Belgrade, then I think we need to present that to the town attorney and say, you know, what does that mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Because I don't feel qualified to make that judgment. Because as you said, there's probably case law about this.
Yeah,
It's probably been through the courts already somewhere else.
I was gonna say, there may be a situation where the town has records, so like Hans provided that Mary and he got, that says, yes, this was on the ballot, this was the vote. That may be perfectly okay legally to say.
You know, yeah, this is.
But I don't know.
We don't, but
So if it doesn't have all, like, town clerks certified, so then what are we doing? We're looking for find the latest map, whenever that may be, if it's, 97 or that has all the certs, and that's the map we'll go off of, the most legit one we can find.
I honestly don't know.
Well,
I mean, like the 97 map, that has no town clerk certification on it either.
Right, so what do we do if we can't find anything that's stamped all the way?
I don't know.
Certified? Yeah.
And
At-
then doing this by letter isn't gonna be enough. Maybe we have to have an executive session with the town attorney.
Yeah, that's probably what we have to do.
and
But I kind of agree with George, go through the files, see what we can find.
mhm.
Take what information we have there. Assess where we are, and go with the town attorney with, this is the situation. Help us.
Yeah, well, and to also bring before the town attorney the further complication, if you will, or the reality that, of the town meeting vote, albeit on the wrong map.
And that the land does not meet criteria for resource protection.
Right.
Well, yeah, so Tyler
Recommendations.
did due diligence, right? He
Yeah.
had independent go out there and say it is not resource protection land, it doesn't qualify.
Yeah.
But
That's at the heart of this. That's at the core of this, right? I mean, There's unanimous support. We agree that it wasn't. This isn't there's no ambiguity here. It didn't in 1992 when they went through the same thing. And because of poor record keeping, I had to replicate what was already done in 1992. And the land's been tied up unlawfully. And then we proved it again. And now we have a vote where it was removed. And we have a map that jives with the vote. And we're still going round and round looking for this miracle when the 1997 map that you guys have been using to issue permits doesn't have what you're seeking for the 2004 map. We have the map at the DEP. We have the map that was hung in the previous town office. We have a vote. And at the core, we have, as George stated in the town meeting, the requirements for resource protection are not met. It is simple in the definitions. It is not resource protection criteria.
And Mr. Evans, I'm not disagreeing with you on any of that. I was very disappointed at the town meeting to see that a 5-minute presentation took over the work that this board put together for at least 3 or 4 meetings. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. And I apologize for your suspicion on this. But we have to pedal back, unfortunately, and understand what are the legal records here. And then if things are exactly like you say, this board is in the hard position of having to explain the entire town that we mess up. But we mess up because we make a decision on the best information that we had that was not accurate.
Yep.
So it's a lot to navigate here, and I will kindly ask for your patience on it. It really baffled me at the time, that I have to express this out, because I haven't talked enough about it in the record. It baffled me that in a town meeting, the word of somebody that ride the land for 5-10 minutes, and then when they say that I was riding that land in my 4-wheeler, so well, you were in the property of somebody else riding your 4-wheeler or whatnot. That's you were trespassing, so to speak. I'm thinking in my head, I didn't order that out, and because you were there 5 minutes and your 4-wheeler sink a little bit, we don't know how much or whatnot. We don't really know in which part of the land he was. He ordered that for 5 minutes. He riled up the whole, more than half of the people there to vote in favor of what he was ordering out. So I know there is a lot of sentiments about this whole thing, about protecting our lands and so on. But the landowners also have rights to prove out that probably the status is not correct. That's exactly what you did with science and everything else beyond the call of duty. So from the part of this board, you have 100% support in terms of the information you supply. But you gotta also to understand that we have to listen to everybody in this situation. And in the meantime, I will plead with you to be patient to we have this all sorted out logically, legally, and fairly. Are you with me on that?
Yes.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So that's what I think somebody here in the floor wants to say, Mr. Chapu.
I guess I've just got a question as far as I've heard everybody talk about the requirements to be, whatever. I can't find the requirements in the shoreline zoning ordinance. So just where does one get the information?
Just
But-
requirements for what district it goes in.
Yeah,
It's
as far as like,
it's in the
Mr. Evans went through to
16.
pull it out.
The criteria for,
For
16.
resource protection, you're saying, what's the
Yeah.
criteria?
Yeah.
there's a section 9 on the districts and zoning map.
there we go, I'm sorry.
So the requirements to pull it out are in the shoreline zoning.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That's why
No, there's
It-
like
Section
5 or 6
13.
of them.
okay.
Section 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the realities that we have to face, and I know this is painful for Tyler, and to a certain extent, much far less extent to us, is the reality though, and also that we need to respect the town meeting vote and take that into account.
Yeah.
Particularly as we go forward with and get together with the town attorney, because I don't know how that all fits, but. You know, whether. The fact that. This parcel of land does not meet the, I mean, board is unanimous in that this parcel of property. Does not meet the ordinance's criteria for a resource protection zone. There's no question about that. Tyler's, proven that beyond a shadow of doubt. But the fact that the town vote didn't, is inconsistent with the ordinance, that's the town meeting's prerogative, and privilege, if you will. I mean, democracy is not, is a
Perfect.
little on the messy side.
Mhm.
And so we're just gonna have to work our way through that. But
Not
I
forget the
think
1992 vote.
that's of the town meeting vote.
Okay, Mr. Evans.
Just not forgetting the 1992 town vote. We don't have one vote here. We have two. One previously where the town removed this from resource
Yeah.
protection.
Point well taken, Tyler.
I just don't want that point to get overlooked.
Yeah, point well taken.
All right, so with that,
And in fact, if that is the correct map and latest map where the town voted it out and then it just reflects that on the map. Tyler, that would be the map we would have to use for Tyler's application. We could move forward and. By
Whatever we determine is the word.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to get personally, I would
Yeah.
like confirmation of that from the town attorney.
right. So I think we stretched this topic to the end. Everybody satisfied with what we've been said? Mr. Steele?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Rasmussen?
It's your board.
Mr. Evans? Are you with the data this far?
Well, that's a tough question to answer. It feels like we're going in circles here. I feel like we're moving backwards from our last meeting, and I understand not everyone was there, and that adds an interesting dynamic. But I understand the need for patience and to make sure that mistakes are not duplicated. But there's got to be a timeline on this.
I
cannot underscore the frustration.
You're not gonna have a person that better understand you and that I live on a timeline. My day is all sliced. I feel your pain, but we are dealing. This is public sessions. We're dealing with public needs. We're dealing with public concerns, and we are trying to hear everybody and make sure that everybody's concerns are in the pot. And you're in with some other concerns in this whole thing, and we're doing all we can to be fair to everybody. I hope that that's the best explanation I can tell you.
I get it, but the landowner has rights to ensure that his land is.
And so does the town residents too. So that said, do you have anything else that you would like to add at this meeting today?
Are we in a position to add this to the next agenda to put the final stamp on this in another 2 weeks period with due diligence at the state office? Because it's my understanding that the town records have been combed through thoroughly by town officials to confirm that this was never voted back into resource protection, that there were no other discrepancies with this 92 vote and the 2004 map. So if we say we got 2 weeks to confirm that with the state, are we in a position to put this on the next map and be done with it? I mean, it seems
Well,
like we have.
I from my time, I cannot guarantee you anything because once we're done with this meeting, I'm MIA to the next meeting. So I'm not gonna be putting any effort into this. But I can guarantee you that we have word from Mr. Seal and Mr. Baker that all that corral is gonna happen. But then in order to send all this stuff to the lawyer, this board have to reconvene and look at and listen to what Mr. Baker and Mr. Seal have found. Is that correct, Mr. Seal?
Yeah.
Before, and we have to have a vote to send it to the lawyer. So that's the best I think can guarantee for you.
Tyler, my take is, this is George Seal, Tyler, my take is that at best, we're talking 2 to 3 meetings. And I say that because, as Sarah just mentioned, hopefully whatever's going on in Colin's life, we can still access those files, in terms of his health or his family's health, and review them before the next meeting. Assuming we do that and have a discussion and then decide what questions we need to ask the town attorney, like as Sarah said, that we're required to do that by a vote to authorize somebody either to write the letter or to decide on a executive session with the town attorney. So that brings us, at least 2 meetings out from here. So just so that we want to be realistic and we don't want to mislead you.
Okay.
George, if that 04 map, and you go in those files and you see that the town clerk certified those maps, would you feel comfortable moving forward then, or still want to go to the attorney? If we find out everything's legit from 04.
Yeah, no, I personally, if there's that 2004 map.
Yeah.
That DEP has, which Rich has.
Yeah.
Had a certification on it from the town clerk, then I would feel comfortable that was indeed based on a town vote, even though we don't have any records of that town vote
Or we
in
found
terms
something
of the
in the file.
warrant article or the voting, how many people voted yes and how many people voted no.
Problem is we don't have it, sir, and the copies aren't.
No, I know. I'm talking about the file.
If we found a letter in the file.
Yeah,
that
if you find something in the files.
Dick Bourne sent to DEP, here's the adopted map, change map. Voted on by the townspeople on such and such a date. Well, I think that's, well, again, we gotta talk to the attorney.
Yeah, I would still want to talk to the town attorney on that case, since there's no town clerk certification.
What about the one that Hans and Mary found? Was that certified? Hans.
I don't see a stamp or an imprint, but things also, 30 something years old.
But we didn't see that on any other map either, correct? We might not be seeking something that exists.
No,
Right. The certification is the fact that it was on file at the DEP's office. You walked in and said, I want to see Belgrade Shoreland Zone map, and this is what they gave.
I did find a map from 1974 that's certified. I had a stamp on
And how did that label this parcel?
it. It is limited residential.
So that if nothing's certified and the lawyer says that it needs to be certified, that will be the map that we're gonna have to go by. The latest map that is certified. And that's what I was trying to mention before. I'm going through the same thing for a parcel of land in Puerto Rico, and before it never went to the registry of deeds. So now there's no record of it in the registry of deeds. So the land was never owned by any of us.
So you couldn't deny a building permit down there right now.
For 30 years and everything else, there's no legal documentation of it. So we have to start all over again. So if all this documentation don't have the proper legal authorization and weight, it's like we never did anything with this thing. All these maps, they're just souvenirs. We have to go with what is legally stamped. At least that's a law in Puerto Rico. And I suspect that the same train here for that kind of thing.
So then the 92 vote was to try to add it to resource protection, so if it was unlimited.
No, that was to take it out.
Right, but you're saying it was unlimited in 75.
In 74.
In 74, so then it must at some point went in to resource protection and then came out again.
Well, sometime between that 20-year gap,
Right.
the national floodplain mapping occurred and they brought their wide brush through, or that's my assumption.
So the town didn't.
Same thing that's happening now.
So the town never changed it, voted on putting it in.
No,
They came through with a wide brush and
Exactly.
and that's Mr. Hammond appealed to the, well, Tyler, you know this pedigree better than I do. But he wrote to the floodplain people and had it removed, got their approval, and then went to town vote.
I don't remember it, but
We got
the
theirs.
back of the papers, I was involved with telling them if you take, if it's not in the floodplain as shown by a survey or whatever, the town could take it out. But that's just a minutes, a note from the planning board referenced my name that they had talked to me about it.
Rich, this is probably just a reflection of improved mapping with time. But was that the only criteria back in the day, you know, whether or not it was in a 100-year floodplain?
It was moderate high value wetlands.
Okay, you know, but not the same 5 or 6 criteria that we used last fall.
Kind of pretty much, except the Fish and Wildlife were updating modern high value wetlands maps, so in the early days, there may not have been as many areas.
Right, and Inland Fish and Wildlife didn't have the beginning with habitat maps back then. Other significant wildlife habitat.
So just to be clear, though, there's no grounds to deny an application for a camp on this parcel.
I'm not sure that we're discussing that.
Well,
I I will let that answer to be in the moving opinion, because I have to be the whole board approving that or thinking that. You're asking us to be on record on something that I don't think we're ready to answer.
Fine.
It'd be no different than me walking into the office on any other land that's labeled residential and getting a building permit to do as everyone has.
I will be reluctant to be on record answering that question, Tyler, because so many complications with this parcel right now.
None of which are on the owner.
Said that again.
None of which on behalf of the owner. I have done everything. This isn't any complications on
We
my
don't
end.
arguing that, Tyler. I want you to understand that we're arguing that, and I apologize if you have business you have already done that have a timeline. You know, I don't have control over that. I don't have control over the situation that is going on now.
Well,
We
I understand.
depend on other people. Listen, please. We depend on other people to make decisions and to forward their best understanding of these land rules. We understand that you did nothing wrong. We understand that you have proof beyond the doubt that this thing is the way it should be with science and everything else. But you gotta understand that we serve a whole town, and there are other aspects of this thing that are not clear. And we're trying to clear it out and make sure that we bring all streams in a consensus rather than forcing a decision and moving quickly on it. So I don't wanna go over this thing again. I can tell you that. And if it's take 5 months to figure it out, that's it is what it's gonna take. I cannot control that.
It's just unclear on what we're trying to figure out. To me, we have.
It's already been spoken. We already have a plan on what's gonna happen. And I think Mr. Seal went over it very clearly. I know that I can understand how this creates an anxiety on your end because you have an investment and things, at least from your point of view, you have done all you can. But we have done all we can. We need to we're looking into resources like our legal counsel to understand what are the right procedure to go about this. We are in uncharted waters.
Right. I understand. This was back to Nick's comment of if we have a map that shows the correct and jives with the vote, that's where does it end? We can keep kicking the can. Every meeting we can say we need to look for this. And that's the history that I'm seeing here. We just keep looking for more things without making a decision.
I respectfully, Mr. Evans, disagree with you. From my point of view, there seems to be a rush on your end. And this
No. My land's been tied. No rush. I've been
Mr.
trying for
Evans,
8
I'm the
months.
one who decided to speak here. I can kick you off the meeting right off. So that said, I, in goodwill, and if I'm moving forward with letting you know that we're doing all we can. And I'm pleading for your patience. And we have a plan, and these things will take time. I cannot rush them, especially when these have to be done in an open session. I can, if I want to really rush it, I can call for an emergency meeting next week. But this don't call for an emergency meeting. This is regular business. It's difficult that we cannot pound day after day to get it done within a week. I cannot do that. There's a protocol given to this town that this board meets every 2 weeks. I cannot make it favor for a particular resident to meet in 3 days, and then after that meeting, another 3 days to move a particular item along, because that's creating a miscommunication with the rest of the community that expect if an item was discussed today, if we're gonna meet again in 2 weeks. And we are also counting on the time of other resources like our council. Our council might be able to take a question tomorrow, where they might say, no, I cannot get back to you in a week or so. So we have a plan of what we're gonna do for next meeting, and that had been spoken out. Any other questions from you?
I think the last thing I just wanted to say, I'm not sure the town has a right to vote a parcel of land into resource protection if it does not qualify for resource protection.
I'm not disagreeing with that either.
Absolutely
So I think
correct.
at the end of the day, if the town cannot prove, if we don't have documentation that says this belongs in resource protection, even if the town wants to label it resource protection, I don't think by law they can. It has to meet.
We think.
Yeah, I think that's what we'll find out by the
We
time.
think.
My
With the
lawyer
town
has confirmed that.
We think.
Yeah, it has to qualify.
It makes what you said, Mr. Sakaro, makes complete logic to me. Just like make the complete logic that this thing was gonna pass. Okay, but we live in a community.
No, I get, no, I.
And we
I
have
totally-
rights,
I totally get that.
and there will people that will disagree with you, and that's why we wanna conceal all the information we have. And have a town attorney that has experience in land use answer that. Once we have that support, then we come here, and if people disagree, say, you know what? You can go and fight with our attorney.
Yeah, I'm just
So-
saying at the end of the day, I think we're gonna find out that because it doesn't qualify.
That's what you think.
Yeah,
That's what we think, and that's what is logic to us. But I don't know how this I cannot give any guarantees on that.
And
Right.
there could be a situation where towns can be more restrictive.
right, you'd have to change the ordinance.
The question then is there something in the town plan, whether it's comprehensive plan or something that backs it up? But the,
Oh, we'd have to put
Generally,
more stringent ordinance,
Yeah.
we'd have to change the ordinance to make it more stringent to qualify for resource protection.
So, that said, Mr. Evans, anything else that you would like to add?
No.
Okay. Anything that Mr. Chapu or Mrs. Dallas or Mr. Dallas would like to say? Mr. Dallas?
Sure, well, thank you very much, really appreciate this. Yeah, I think Sarah, you hit the nail on the head. This is pretty sticky. There's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo behind this. We all have opinions about what's right. And sometimes the legal correct thing is not the right thing. And there was a reason that this was brought to a town vote. you
Sure.
know, And a super majority of the people voted against removing this. And I'm not saying that's right. I don't know whether towns can even put land into resource protection zones if they don't qualify with whatever the regulations are at the time, with whatever the state of the land is at the time. But I think taking the diligent approach of doing the research, crossing the T's and dotting the I's certainly makes the most sense. So thank you very much.
I think I hear from all parties here tonight that we have moved into a consensus zone, and that's my thrill. I enjoy these meetings because I enjoy listening to people, other sides, and that we found a consensus zone, even when we're not completely ultimately happy with it. I'm not particularly, but it is what it is. we have a consensus zone and we're doing everything transparent and everybody knows where we are with things. So, with that, I don't have any other things to say.
Do we need a motion for that?
No, we don't need a motion. Well, you were ready for it. So that's a good thing. So, with that, then in all business, I think we're closing that up. The map 3, lot 3 is done for tonight. We're not gonna reopen that in this meeting tonight. We then we're gonna move to battery energy storage systems. That's all business. So,
Thank you.
no problem. Thank you. I appreciate you are here. And I appreciate also your patience with all this. Battery energy storage systems. We have, right here. You know, I'm gonna be honest, I am not gone in detail to all this. I just skipped it. And I know this is the third time we're going through this thing.
They're gonna be obsessed. So.
Oh. I gotta flunk it. I'm not used to flunk tests, but and that one, I might have to flunk it. So that's it. Who would like to start to lead the discussion on this?
Vice Chair.
Question.
Oh,
Oh, I missed my meeting.
okay.
Well,
Vice Chair, Mr. Shield, Mr. Baker.
Well, I was just wondering last time, and maybe it was before Mr. Daniels.
Oh, the one that came in to talk, oh, yeah.
Yeah, he came in and spoke. We were talking about, well, maybe, we can add this to the commercial development ordinance. And then I kind of read this or go through it and it's kind of like, geez, I think there's. Can we, is it even feasible to make it be part of the commercial development review ordinance, or do we create an ordinance in itself to deal with these things? I don't.
well, I agree, these model ordinances are pretty thorough and pretty standalone, but at the same time, most. Energy generating, whether it's a windmill or solar thing, or they have battery storage on site, so we've got to integrate. Piece of these into the existing ordinances, or have a. Dual criteria for any. Solar field or windmill.
Well, I would say that the storage systems, not necessarily gonna be commercial. We can, they can be, they can be private storage systems.
Called classified non-residential.
Yeah.
The, in addition to the information that Hans has provided us from, this one's. Needs to be taken with a grain of salt, it's from the industry, okay? And then that's what American Clean Power is, for the. Developers of battery.
So you're saying they're biased?
Well, no, I'm just saying, there's some good stuff in here, don't, I think that it's just, recognize the source.
Yeah.
What it comes down to. And then the Massachusetts stuff is pretty good. There was a lot of helpful stuff that came from Massachusetts when we did added the section to the commercial development review ordinance that dealt with solar facilities, non-residential solar facilities. There's a couple Hans shared with me, and I can't remember if you shared it with everybody, but one other source, the state agency that does the zoning for the unorganized townships is delving into this as well. And so Hans, there's Hans had provided me with a draft of some regulation changes that they're proposing. It's a little on the light side, I thought, but and then as detailed, maybe even more detailed than the Massachusetts document, New York State's already gone through this, and the reason they've gone through it is they've had fires at 3 of these facilities.
Yeah, that was my next question.
And and so it led to a big investigation from their counterpart to our state fire marshal's office, and with recommendations working its way through the system of government on siting criteria and all this other stuff to minimize the risks to the public. The when I don't have, first off, I'm kind of overwhelmed by the technology and all the codes that go into this. I mean, if you look at the Massachusetts document, I mean, just the National Fire Protection Association, they cite like a dozen different national fire codes, that apply. And there's no way that we can be expected to master that. I mean, but some of the most basic stuff, like where can these be safely sited and setbacks and things of that nature, maybe we can address but with one caveat, in my opinion, I think we need to ask the fire department to collaborate with us. I think they should either, we should request that they, if we're gonna go ahead with this seriously. I mean, I don't know how this meshes with, our demands on our time versus the housing law stuff that is in the queue as well. I mean, we can't do both at the same time, in my opinion. But I don't think we have time for that, particularly going into the construction season. But once we, are ready to rock and roll on this, I think we should approach the fire department with them, either assigning a representative to work with us or setting up a little committee, 2 or 3 of their members to work with us, because a lot of this is going to be about fire protection and safety.
I know Mr. Daniels is on the fire department, so you probably.
Yeah, he would, I mean, and he's obviously quite knowledgeable, as we saw. And he is a professional engineer to boot. And so I'd be surprised if they wouldn't be willing to collaborate with us. But that said, I think there's a lot that we already have in the ordinance. There's some in the ordinance, not a lot. There's some in the ordinance in the solar section that we probably can rely on here too. Like setbacks, maybe what kinds of land types it shouldn't be on versus should be on. I noticed, for example, prime farmlands, the state regulations excluded from prime agricultural lands.
We got this Massachusetts, you mentioned New York. Do you know whether, you mentioned work, it's not work anymore?
Right, yeah, Lumsey, I think they call themselves.
Do you know if the DEP in its site laws or anything have any kind of regulations addressing this? Or you probably don't know.
I don't know, and I haven't looked, but I could. The fact of the matter is, they don't even have any regulations specific to solar, other than what the legislature required of them regarding decommissioning. I think they take the attitude of, well, we'll handle this the same way we handle a large condominium project, and I'm not sure that entirely works, but that's their decision, not mine.
It would be a good thing if work, has drawn up something, even if it's weak, we may be able to at least see what that is and maybe take some of the stronger stuff and add it to the weak, and we'll have something in the middle.
Yeah, I think you're the one that gave. that.
Yeah, I did email it to you.
Yeah,
I had to print it off.
Gorham, right, that has.
yeah, the newest one, and I think Hans gave us this too, quite early on, it- It's a document from the governor's office, I believe. But it lists some of the others that are already, this is a little dated from 2023, but that are already online or under construction. And there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them in addition to Gorham that we know of. And they're all co-located with a solar facility or a hydroelectric facility, like one's at the old Great Northern Paper Mill plant site. So they're probably co-located with the Big A dam, hydroelectric dam, Madison,
Madison.
and their hydroelectric facility there.
Yarmouth, I think.
The others are Cumberland. That one I'm not sure about, at least based on the name. Madison, Millinocket, Rumford, so they may be co-located with either the hydro dam there or that mill does generates a lot of power from burning waste wood and black liquor.
Holliston.
Oh yeah, and tires. Then 2 others, one in York, which is associated with some kind of renewable energy facility, probably solar, and then also in Rumford. Oh, I already mentioned Rumford. There are 2 in Rumford, actually. Just realized that. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. So anyway, there's a bunch of them around. Apparently, it's the early generation ones that had the fire hazards. What I picked up from the news report. But there's a lot to this.
Yeah, I know.
There's a real lot to it. It's kind of overwhelming.
Yeah. Reading the one this morning, the New York thing, it's like, wow, there's a lot of stuff here.
Now, is this something that we should involve physical,
I don't know. I mean,
if
we
it's overwhelming to you, I can't even figure out how we're gonna get through it.
well, I mean, part of it's like anything else that you start off on, it always seems overwhelming
Then you
until you get
into.
into it more, but, couple of thoughts. One is, we're already in the queue for Katie Cock to help us with the housing. Law, changes that we have to make again. And I know that in the past, they've been, they don't want to spend all their time on one town.
Yeah,
So we may have trouble there.
Yeah.
Secondly, do they have expertise in this? I doubt it.
okay,
Well, the housing thing, that can's gonna get kicked down the road because they're changing it yet again.
Right.
Is that LD 2003?
No,
Oh.
well, this is the 3rd generation now, it's LD 2173.
Okay.
But they're revising the 2003 parameters.
they're gonna slack or they're gonna tighten?
Well,
Depends on your perspective.
yeah, right, exactly.
But, the whole where they're allowing at least 3 dwelling units per lot.
That's changing
Yeah,
to more?
in some situations, yes, but some situations it's 3 dwelling units in one structure. So, anyway, there's a lot being proposed, it's in Augusta now. So I'm just watching what they're putting out, but I'm not memorizing it, because it may not happen.
Do you think what if the way proposing will help a lake town like us, or will be actually worse?
again, this doesn't have to do with shoreline zone.
Hmm.
It has to do with just our minimum lot size ordinance, you know, and the ADU,
Yeah.
we spent all this time
Yeah,
on. Well, last year, because they're allowing 3, 4 dwelling units per lot now. Who cares if it's an ADU or a barn, you know, it's, a dwelling is a dwelling, whether it's an ADU. Or a 3 bedroom house, and they've removed, you know, footprint restrictions.
So Nick, just for your benefit, cause you're sort of, you know, playing catch up here. In 2023, the legislature passed a law to roll back a lot of town regulations governing housing and lot size, minimum lot size. And stop me if you're already up to speed on this.
Yeah.
You are, hey, no, I won't say another word.
But
I appreciate it though.
Good.
good news today, I got a message that the bill that was 2174, which is gonna eliminate a lot of the home rule.
Wow.
Was defeated unanimously.
Oh,
Because it was so broad that it would have even eliminated the home rule in shoreline zone and all the ordinances. All of our ordinances would have been
interesting.
just reverted.
Well, that's why Craig is celebrating today.
You think he's out partying? I think if he's out partying, he's probably got better things to party with about than that, but,
He's at the Sunset Grill.
yeah. Only other thing I would add to this discussion, just to bring everybody up to sort of the same level. You may recall that, in addition to the law, the Department of Economic and Community Development, they finalized regulations to implement the law that was passed a year ago. Whether anything past this session would require them to revise those regulations, I couldn't tell you. But I do know, and this is only because of information that Becky still gets from the Maine Municipal Association, despite being retired, is that there's a meeting of the municipal attorneys in the state, private as well as public sector, in Portland, I believe it is, coming up. I don't know the date, but and the presenter is
So, sir,
what's that?
our, no.
No, not our lawyer, but a woman from the Department of Economic and Community Development. Actually, it may now be in the governor's office. There's some administrative change, but anyway, sort of briefing them on what's in these regulations. So, what that means, I don't know. You know, in terms of, I mean, I'm kind of in Han's camp that, geez, the legislature's mucking around with this again.
We should not do anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't do anything until they're done
Not gonna
messing around. And so we know, I mean, we've already gone through this once in a very major way and spent a lot of time on it.
I think in regards of the ADU, at the point that law was in, this group together with KBK, that's why I said we should bring KBK to this. We figure out a hole that nobody else figured out, because I've gone to different meetings about that LD, what was it, 2003? And people are complaining about the fact that it's cramming the minimum size lot. I said, no, it's not. You had the option to impose your minimum size lot as a municipality. So when I said that, a lot of people seem like, really? Where's that? So I think we knock it out of the park with this community on that. Not probably for the real estate people, but for the common man and home rule, that kind of stuff. I think we put the fence out there. So I think we did a good job with that 2003. This one, because I remember me doing the same thing, kind of that we're feeling from Mr. Evans. I staged this group to march to get that done for a time, and I strain all of you guys with that. but it was for a public, it was for the benefit of the whole community to be in the law and not being out of the law. When this second thing came about, I didn't push too hard because it seems like, it's still really decided in the state law, in the
Well,
state,
The
why is it real law?
reason a lot of this is happening is because
People push back,
municipalities
push back.
created minimum lot sizes that were much larger than, they would defeat the purpose of having the ADUs.
Right.
Gotcha.
So the state said, oh, well, we're smarter than that, we're gonna make different rules, so now 4 per lot is acceptable. So
Also,
towns
you say that we should change the minimum so, like, so.
well, they got wise to the antics of the municipalities, so now they're,
Yeah, just
now they're,
defeated the whole purpose of the
they,
law.
they went with a broad brush last year, now they're refining it a little bit. So, anyways,
I think you're right though, Sarah. My sense is there may be some pushback even coming from more urban towns in Maine.
Paula was very upset.
Because, again, because Becky, we get at home the magazine that for
Maine Town.
municipal officials. Do you get that, Rich?
I don't get anymore, I used to get it.
And
when I
work-
worked at DEP.
Yeah, it's called Maine Town and City. And anyway, they got little blurbs in there what different towns are doing. And there's a number of towns, including Scarborough in particular, that are pushing back against and asking their legislative delegation to vote against this bill. Because for different reasons, and they're concerned for different reasons than we are. They're concerned because they're getting a lot of public pushback that, like, for example, Scarborough's growing too fast, too quick, and too much. And it's overwhelming their, I mean, that's a fairly wealthy town, it's overwhelming their infrastructure. So, chickens are kind of coming home to
A lot of
roost.
people don't understand that all these changes affect not only the land use, it affect the amount of population, it affect the resources in the communities.
And that law was pretty
Schools.
much written for towns like Scarborough.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean,
What's
that's
really
where,
for
they're the
us?
towns that are most able to comply with it, because they have public sewer, they have public water,
Where all those systems are gonna be stressed,
right.
interesting.
Well, there's a housing crisis, so.
Well, there is, and it's,
7,000 something.
yeah, no, I mean, it is a serious, real problem, it's just, you
Well,
don't wanna do more damage in the
I
solution than,
Yeah, I
kind of.
agree with you.
interesting. So what we tend to do with this, I think, I will propose to make this a separate ordinance.
Yes.
You go for that?
I wouldn't oppose that by any means, it's just.
So if when we activate that ordinance, if it fits in the commercial development, then we will have to use both of them. But if I don't know I really don't know where all this stuff is gonna go, because my vision of things is that eventually, and it might happen before 20 years, it might happen before 10. Somebody's gonna go out there and create this refrigerator that is your unit to create energy for your home. And you're gonna get caught off from the grid completely. It's gonna happen in the next 10 years, I think. So that means that we're gonna have to have home reserves for battery maybe. Or some sort, so I don't know, all these codes are gonna change, and I don't know how much of this thing. Battery energy system storage is gonna apply, we're gonna have to have ordinances for the homes. So having it already outside of the other ordinance, when that comes along. Is a complete bucket on the outside. Rather than it's a commercial, then we'll have to, when that time. I'm predicting the future, and maybe you're confused, cause I'm predicting the future that.
No.
I see, but
No, that's me thinking.
oh, okay, so.
Smoke.
So that said, I think we're wise to do this as a separate ordinance for my take. If there's another argument against that, I wanna hear it.
Well, here's my view at the moment,
Sure.
and it'll probably change with time and knowledge. I'm not smart enough to know at this point in time whether a separate ordinance is better than building on what we already have on the commercial development review ordinance, because we don't have to replicate. The latter option means that we don't have to replicate everything that's in the front end of the ordinance. That said, one of the questions we need to answer is, are we gonna focus our attention and the town's regulations on just non-residential energy storage facilities? Or are we gonna get into people's homes and the ones that these battery systems that are on the market now for storing the power from the rooftop solar? I mean, you may recall with solar, we made a very conscious decision. We wanted no part of regulating solar on that was used to power somebody's individual home.
Yeah.
That was an appropriate role, at least for the town of Belgrade.
And that would be my idea of home batteries or whatever, unless the fire department
Yeah,
came back and said, wait a minute, you can't, that's a terrible thing to do, is exempt them. But if it's not a big issue, I don't think, at this point, wouldn't want to regulate home storage.
I will tell you some of the things
Well,
that happened.
something I've read in these things is there is a lot of regulation on the supply side. So like Nick's having a system put in, if you have batteries being put in, well, they have to have a safe place to put it. They put their systems, breakers, safety devices
Yeah.
built into it, and that puts the liability on.
On their own, yeah.
well, and they're now UL listed. They weren't always UL listed.
Now, you put in solar panels in your house, so,
Yeah, unfortunately.
well, this is the thing. The CMP is making you sign a contract that binds you to 20 years. So you have to sell the free energy you're getting, because it's free. We put their panels up and now from there on it's all free. They want the free energy and you are bound, if you wanna be able to use the grid, you are bound to stick with them for 20 years.
Well, unless I get batteries and then it never goes to the grid, it just goes to my battery to my house.
So you are off the grid.
No, I didn't buy batteries. Mine's going to CMP and then I get it back from CMP. But
Yeah,
it's a 1-to-1 ratio, which a lot of states don't have. A lot of, like California's 30 cents to the,
but if you wanna get off the grid,
yeah,
you can't. Cause you already signed a 20-year contract with them.
yeah.
And all that energy goes in. I was in the moment to sign it, and when I saw the 20 years, I need information of this. So what I'm getting with all this is I don't know how this whole thing is gonna develop. And for me, if we're gonna change the battery energy of storage part of things, and if it's under the commercial development, having it outside and be able to have a Lego that it will fit in any other ordinance, it would make more sense to me, but I don't know that I have experience and taking to it, and I will go with what probably Mr. Steele says, because he has more experience than me. It's just that this is us a bubble future. It's not that it would be my preference thinking of that opportunity, but who knows, that never gonna happen. It's just thinking with a future that will never happen. That's it.
Am I reading the tea leaves correctly in that it's sort of the consensus that we want to work on the battery energy storage systems before the housing?
Yes.
The housing's tied up. So
Yeah, it seems like we're gonna have to do
The
that.
house,
Yeah,
it's wasted energy.
yeah.
So what's the next step then?
I will, even when we think that KB Co has no experience of it.
Well, I'm speculating we
Yeah.
should
We should
probably
call them.
contact.
Yeah, that would be the first step for me, in my mind. Check with them first and
Do you
see.
want me to send them an email?
That'd be so nice.
Okay.
Starting tomorrow morning, I'm MIA basically, on the next meeting. I mean, if you guys need to contact me, it's fine, but basically I disappearing from the planet.
You mean like Bert did today, going fishing?
Yeah. He's ahead of me in the MIA session.
I saw him twice, saw him at you. That's not me, staying me.
That's okay. So, so that said, so we have a step, a plan for tackling that. First thing we're gonna
Maybe
do-
Hans could provide that, a paper copy, for everyone of the land use
Yeah.
planning commission document.
Yeah.
And then we could take it from there.
Okay. Wonderful.
Oh,
So, approve of previous minutes, 2/19. We're gonna do that before discussion?
Let's do discussion first,
Okay,
because we're talking about this commercial development ordinance.
okay,
And it came to, I realized last week. That in the solar section. It states that the fees will be set by the select board. Select board never set fees. So that was put onto their last meeting agenda last Tuesday. And then I read further into it, and the windmill and cell tower sections have no reference to fees at all. So if somebody put an application in for a cell tower, all they're gonna pay is the fee to sit in this meeting. There's no permit fee, so there's an application fee, there's no permit fee. And no decommissioning regulations.
Oh.
And all the same for wind towers. So
I've actually been looking into that.
if we're gonna put that into the select board, you know, there's no ordinance to the select board even for the fee structure, so. I feel like the ordinance needs to be modified to say. Where to go find the fee structures,
mm-hmm,
and then the select board needs guidance, like on a windmill, do you charge by the square footage of the base? Or the height, the total span of land that it's gonna cover? And, you know, even cell towers, do you go by the height? Or,
I don't know, we gotta figure that out, cause cell towers are a real problem. And once they come with the 6G, it's gonna be a real problem.
why?
Real bad for your health. Like,
Oh, no, yeah,
really,
that's right, yes,
they just shot one down in California. Cause 3 elementary students came up with cancer and they had a little 5G tower at the school. And it's I believe it was a T-Mobile. And they said, no, that's not causing the cancer, but we're gonna shut it off anyways. After the 3rd student came with the cancer, and the 6G's infinitely worse than the 5G. And then the 6G needs to be like every couple 100 feet in the tower.
so,
And you don't wanna live next to.
I went, one of my, science teachers from high school is a monk, that the only thing he ever did for fun on a weekend was read. And, when he got some research that published it from Europe, and there's a woman in Europe that wrote a very commendable paper on the use of cell phones. He called me, I was one of his favorites. He called me and said, listen, I wanna tell you, make sure that cell phone you have it encapsulated, and when you carry it over, it's not too close to you. And I said, well, I'll put it on my butt. Well, you might have butt cancer going.
Yeah, it's
in my
Yeah, it's
pocket.
a real problem. You gotta get one of these, Defender Shield, I'll send you a link.
Okay,
Watch the EMFs. when it's in your pocket.
so he was very adamant about that, and when he started calling other friends, high school friends of ours, he thought that we thought he was, losing it. It's true.
Oh,
He said that he told that
Yeah.
because
but we're never.
it's the radiation.
Too much money behind it. And it facilitates the whole AI movement, and so we're never gonna get rid of it.
But I think there's gonna be new technology about it.
Yeah,
But not everybody understand what you said.
Yeah.
So definitely getting into that, and
but I think the FCC you know, it's a state legislation and then FCC has a ton of rights too, so to try to ban it on a level, like to try to put more
You
strict.
have to stay, you have to get in the state house and get that moving. So we don't have
A
that.
lot of the lobby behind that is.
But that's that's the thing, if you just think about that wall, we're never gonna move to do anything. So that's a great point right there. Anyway, so we were talking about the fees.
Yes,
Uh,
I'd like to finish with another point. The ordinance on solar says it's a burden on the select board. Which is good because it puts the fee structure outside the ordinance. If this home rule thing were to go through and eliminate, renewable energy or ordinances on a municipal level. We still have the fee structure outside the ordinance. That we can use to leverage who comes and who doesn't.
Yeah,
interesting.
that was done that way also to be consistent with that they set fees elsewhere in other ordinances.
Yeah.
So, and I can explain probably for, why, there was fee structure for wind, for solar and not for wind. And telecommunication towers, so those parts of the ordinance were developed and adopted. I think I was just barely on the board at the time, so
So we should amend them to leave that verbiage to say it's responsibility of the select
yeah,
board.
I agree. So we should
So-
put that, add that to
criteria-
the items to be discussed list of fees for wind and
And
so.
criteria to how the fees are reset by the height or square footprint or triangulated the area of airspace it takes or.
So you are asking the board to give counsel or guidance to the select board to do this, so you can.
No, first you gotta set the criteria.
Yeah, we need to amend the for wind and for communication towers, we need to amend the ordinance
So
first.
that's something that we probably can start working on it right off.
Yeah, and for solar, what they're gonna do, I think, is there's the application fee. A permit fee. And the permit fee will include a fee for, I think they're gonna do square footage of the area that it's gonna cover. And then a decommissioning fee. Disposal fee. That'll be. Who knows what, 1.5 or 2 times construction. Reviewable every 3 years, because that is in the ordinance.
Okay.
Question, for you, Hans, if this is a good time, I was just curious, what's the status of the pesticide fertilizer, shoreline zoning amendment? We adopted it, has that made its way to the select board yet, or?
I believe it has.
Okay,
I think it's been. But as an article, but we can check with Mary. You can email a query to her. What's the status? Is it, I mean. I believe they approved that 2 meetings ago, if I remember. I think so, for the June referendum. Yeah.
oh, okay, but the reason I ask is usually we're asked to attend that meeting and explain it, but, apparently that wasn't necessary, we weren't needed. Which is fine by me,
I
but.
think Craig might have been there. Was Craig there?
I think so.
Yeah.
If my memory serves.
Plus Chris and, this whole crew was at a.
Oh, okay, well, you're more influential than we are, so.
All right.
I was just curious. Thank you.
I have a question for Hans, unless he's not done.
I'm done.
The Golden Pond thing withdrawn, was that withdrawn for a particular reason, do you know? Is it-
Well, I'd seen the site back in the fall when there were just leaves on the ground.
Mhm.
And, we talked about setbacks and meeting the setbacks and just can't get there right now. So. Until the site's available.
Yeah, I just, when I saw the application, my first response or first thought that, geez, they're gonna move it back 10 feet. And then they're gonna put an expansion on the back. At the 100-foot line, beyond the 100-foot line, and my thinking at the time, if they were to propose or wanna go forward with that. Is, gee, if you can move it back 10 feet, to get to the 100-foot line, then put something behind it, then you can put the movement back to the 100-foot line and then build behind that. It's kind of like you take a building, you move it back to the greatest practical extent. And after you move that back, then you build what you can fit in. But you can't really,
Yeah, I was thinking prior to add it to it in the back, right in the back of it.
yeah. You don't understand what I was
Yeah.
saying? Okay,
It's the classic,
I saw that and I was gonna say, I'm gonna raise that when we come to it.
it's the classic shoreline zone thing.
Yeah.
Then again, what if there was a cliff?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a
well, it's
difference.
not practical.
But even that, if you move it back, you're not guaranteed an expansion.
Exactly.
If you're gonna move it, you have to move it back as far as you can. The cliff may be as far back as that structure can go. They maybe have to put the expansion on the side.
We have here a particular application,
Pardon me.
we have here a particular application that the structure got moved to, the most practical extent was to burn the back of it. So after they had moved that way, they removed the burn and set it in the back. So,
Alright.
it seems that the same thing is gonna might be happening here, kind of the same concept. Yeah,
Let's see.
okay, so when any of these two applications come about, I cannot get involved.
You won't see, but by that, shouldn't have been here, I was under the interpretation that the movement of, soil greater than 10 yards was a planning board decision, but it's not, it's just code enforcement.
Hold on.
And
Okay,
it's beyond the 100-foot setback, I mean,
yeah, it
really,
is actually,
it meets all the criteria of
I've been in
just
that
signing
camp,
off on it.
that's why I cannot get involved with it,
You do what then?
I've been in that camp,
Oh, that mean,
yeah.
that mean you can't vote on
Well, I know, but, and I know that the rules are only if I have a, economic interest in it or getting paid or I'm in business with them, but, part of my job is make sure that the people keep the trust in this board. And, I know Jay for the longest time, our kids went together to school and everything else. And then I know, Mr. Dan Corbett, his dad was my doctor here, and he actually did the first job to my oldest son. So I, just because of the optics of that, I don't wanna get involved in any of the two of them. So. Alright, so that said. Are we wrapping the discussions then?
That's it.
That's it? So can we move on to look at the minutes?
Can I ask just one other question?
Sure, go ahead.
May or may not know. The stiff case or whatever, they had 30 days to appeal it. I think you said that you thought they appealed. Has they had a meeting on it yet?
I don't know, I'm not in that loop,
And
it's a private club.
It's outside your responsibility.
Looks like a club.
So let me ask you guys something. In the budget session, we were trying to allocate enough money for the meetings of the appeals board. And we only budget for meeting about once. I know that there have been years that they have been more than once, maybe even 3 times.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it will be prudent to budget for 2 meetings for next year.
I think you have a budget for more than one.
Well, that, I know that's gonna be more than one at least because of this whole thing going on.
Yeah.
So,
Now, when you budget for appeals board meeting,
mhm.
I'm wondering, typically, is there much of a cost at all for?
It's very minimal, but this,
I guess you have to have some.
it basically changes like a couple of $100, but
Yeah,
I would like the committee to be more accurate. If we only budget for one. And in the group, people look at me like, shouldn't you know when they're gonna meet? I said, I don't know how many times I need to meet. I mean, that's no part of my business. I know that they will, there are cases right now that are on that.
I'd hate to think that the Board of Appeals couldn't have a meeting, it's like.
They don't have money?
They don't have money to,
Well,
take the notes or the minutes of the
Yeah.
meeting or something.
Yeah.
But I would, my thought is, two or three.
Two or three, yeah, so we move on to. So
Especially
that's
if
good
they-
information.
Especially if they put an appeal in, right?
Yeah.
That's a fact, they appealed it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Could that come back to us at all, or will that?
We don't know.
Yeah.
It goes all the way to.
Yeah, it really depends in part, I guess, on what the Board of Appeals decides. The first time around, the Board of Appeals did remand it that same site to back to us because we at that time weren't doing findings of fact and law. So we had to do that. And then it went back to them and went back, and then it went through the courts and then once it made it to the state Supreme Court, it worked its way back down the ladder to the Board of Appeals who sent it back to us. So I guess the answer is yes, potentially.
would say if the-
But
If the.
it may be several years from now.
I was gonna say, if the court agreed with the planning board's decision, the Supreme Court, if it made it that way, we wouldn't see it again.
Right.
But if they said, no, your planning board decision was wrong,
Right.
it could very well be
Right,
back to
yeah.
us again.
And have they started construction on that or? Instead, the Jones application.
No, they can't, totally.
Why? Because the appeal went in, so they
Yeah.
can't? Okay.
All that freeze the permit.
And the building's already there, it matters.
Right, I was just wondering if they started the interior.
Meanwhile, they removed the kitchen stuff already.
Yeah.
Not all the cabinetry, but the appliances and all that's been taken out. They did that 2 years ago.
Okay, so
This is
minute,
what happens when the wife says, no, do it anyways, and we do it, and that's what happened. She insisted on having the kitchen.
Motion to approve the minutes?
see, we're gonna approve the minutes now, we're gonna, you guys can catch up with that and, when you're ready, we're gonna go for that. I like these minutes that we are done. I really, it's incredible, this basically AI done, huh? Oh my God, you guys are very interesting ones.
Yeah.
But, okay.
That discussion, the last paragraph is.
I just remind myself that I was not here, so I'm reading,
I wasn't.
I cannot approve, I cannot really. I said, Gina, I actually was not here.
So you weren't here, we don't have a quorum of people that were here. Cause Nick wasn't officially on the
I
board.
was here, but.
You were here, but not here. You weren't officially here.
So that, to send up the, yeah,
Now he is a board member and he was at the meeting, but no.
No, it has to be part, you have to be part of the board.
I wasn't there.
Yeah. Okay, so,
Dealing with a crane,
Yeah, I was putting up a crane.
so I
okay,
guess we'll have to defer on this.
yeah, we're
Give me a
gonna,
chance to review it a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot to review.
Yeah.
all right, so then,
I like a,
then I'm gonna entertain a motion to adjourn.
What to do, do it?
All right.
I
You can't wait for that.
I'll second that.
So, Nick Alexander has a motion to adjourn, Mr. Steele, second that, and we're gonna vote. Mr. Alexander, yes, Mr. Sakara.
Yes.
Mr. Bart Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Steele,
Yes.
and Mr. Longes is yes, and we are done for tonight.
Maybe you vote no. Okay.